Okay, Cort, I really appreciate your time today. And, I saw what you're doing and I was introduced to you by James Whitaker as well. And you got a really amazing story and I can't wait to share it with the audience as well. And welcome to the show, mate.
Khoa, thanks for having me on, man. Really appreciate it.
No worries, cool. Okay, so I was introduced to you by James and he mentioned that you've got a really amazing story about cancer as well. So if you could explain to your audience how your story started and what happened, and then we can get into it. So, yeah.
Awesome. So I'll give the 30,000 foot version of it. So,
Awesome.
I was just actually talking to you off air about the fact that I came to Australia in
Yeah.
2016 and I was misdiagnosed. And so I was
Hmm.
misdiagnosed for 3 years. And I had probably seen in the order of 20 to 30 doctors before they even figured out what was wrong with me. And
Mm.
they kept on sending me away saying you're fine, you're healthy, you're fine, you're
Yeah,
healthy.
yeah. Oh, but prior to that, what were you doing prior to that? I think you're an entrepreneur, right? You're an
Yeah,
entrepreneur.
exactly.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
really
uh,
busy.
I
Yeah.
was I was helping startup companies with
Mm.
marketing,
Yeah, yeah.
and so uh, 2017 came, and it was the fall of 2017, and I started having really bad blood pressure spikes, like terrible, and it was giving me these massive migraines, and I had to go to the hospital, and my blood pressure was 250 over 150 at one point, like super super high,
Mm.
and so a doctor in a small hospital in the middle of Connecticut, was like, "Hey, have you ever heard of a pheochromocytoma, which is a type of tumor?" And I hadn't, and so I went and kind of told my doctor about it, and then they tested me for it, and as it turned out, I had that. So the real interesting part is that I had to be told to tell my doctor to find the
Mm.
cancer that I already had.
Wow.
So in 2017, I was diagnosed with what's called a malignant paraganglioma. It's an extra adrenal. It means it's not in my adrenal glands. It was started in my bladder actually,
Mm.
and moved up my spine. And so technically, I'd be considered stage 4 right now.
Wow.
Although I have I believe that I'm gonna get past this. I believe that
Yeah.
it's a huge lesson, and that I was supposed to be, going through this journey. I really truly believe that.
Yeah.
And so uh, I would say over the last, it's probably been 2.5 years now. I've had 8 surgeries. I was almost paralyzed. My spinal cord was almost severed in half from the
Wow.
tumors. I've
What
been
was
on
going through
many,
your
many.
mind? What was going through your
Yeah.
mind when all these things were happening?
Well, this has been,
Yeah.
it's been crazy. It's
Yeah.
been a
Yeah. Yeah.
whirlwind,
Yeah.
and I've been on a lot of experimental drugs, and now I'm on chemotherapy, which is, makes it even, a
Mm.
little more crazy. I was kind of trying to avoid chemo for a long time.
Yeah.
It's rough. I had like I told you, I was in chemo yesterday, and
Mm.
you know, my head is a little cloudy today, so I'm not as on point as I usually am, but I still have
Mm.
my hair, which is great.
Yeah. Yeah. It looks good. Yeah.
So, anyways, last year I just kind of started manifesting things. I started kind of saying, okay, this is my journey, this is my destiny, this is my mission and purpose. And so I just said to myself, I need to do a TEDx. And lo and
Yeah.
behold, someone found me out on Facebook and says, hey, come do a
Oh, that's
TEDx.
amazing.
And then I was like, I need to do a book. And then lo and behold, someone found me on Facebook and they said, hey, you want to do a book with me?
Mm.
And so we just launched a book last week,
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
Oh,
And
congratulations. Yeah.
then, yeah.
Mm.
And
Mm.
then I have always wanted to do a live summit before with speakers. And so now
Yeah. I
COVID's
saw
going
that.
on. And
Yep.
so
Yep.
we're
Mm.
doing an online summit.
There's a lot of stars on that. Yeah. I don't
And
know
so
how
yeah,
you did
a
it. Yeah.
lot of big
A lot
stars,
of
man.
big-
And so I'm interviewing John Asseroff right after I talk to you.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm interviewing
wow.
him later today. You know who he
Amazing.
is?
Yeah, he was on The Secret, right?
Yeah,
And
of course,
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah, yeah,
course.
yeah. I saw the names there. You even got Brian Tracy as well. And
Yep, Brian's a good
yeah,
friend of mine.
yep, yep, yep.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff.
So we put together this huge global summit, and it's going to launch May 25th. It's for free, and yeah, like Khoa, I can't believe how far I've come. I literally can't believe that I'm here
You've
sometimes.
manifested all these things. This is
All of
amazing.
them,
Yeah.
for sure,
Yeah.
for
Okay.
sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's where I am right now.
So that's amazing. So you were as an entrepreneur really busy, and then all of a sudden you were diagnosed with all these medical issues, and then now you're attracting all these amazing things into your life, right? So, but I remember there was a point that you mentioned, I think it was also the title of your book, is that stress leads towards the chronic illness. There's a link between stress and illness. So could you elaborate on that one there?
Absolutely.
I
So
thought
my
that was
whole
so, yeah. That's so amazing that.
so my whole TED talk was about this correlation between stress and cancer.
Mm,
And so I really got into it scientifically. I really wanted to see, it had been considered kind of pseudoscience before, but now it's really becoming science. So now
yeah.
there is actually science that actually shows that stress can lead to cancer. It can lead to increasing the speed at which cancer produces.
Mm,
And it can actually, if you, on the other side of it, if you actually reduce your stress, you can actually slow down cancer. And that's scientifically shown now in a lot of studies. And so there's a doctor by the name of Stephen Cole. He's a medical professor at UCLA.
mm,
He's become a really good friend of mine. He was actually, he's in my summit. Guy's
yeah.
amazing. And so I basically went to him before the TED talk and I just said, teach me about the data, teach me what happens. And so he gave me some incredible statistics and some credible, variables. Like for instance, let's even not even talk about cancer first. Like the UCLA AIDS Institute,
Mm,
they found out that stressed out patients, their AIDS actually progressed 2 to 3 times faster than those that weren't
oh,
stressed.
wow.
And on the other side of the coin, the people who were relaxed and not
Mm,
stressed during taking the medicine,
mm.
their antiviral medicine worked 3 to 4 times as good. So
So,
think about
so
that.
it
So
accelerates the improvement.
so it
Amazing.
actually helped it
Yeah.
work better for being,
Yeah.
as they were calmer. And so breast cancer is a cancer that's studied a lot because it's the most common cancer by leaps and bounds.
Mm,
And so Dr. Cole did a study and he found out something really significant. He found out that women that are chronically socially isolated, meaning they feel like they're alone
mm.
and have chronic high stress, have a 9x
Chance.
statistic in getting breast cancer. So
Oh.
9 times more likely to get breast cancer for chronic social isolation and chronic
What were they
stress.
doing? Probably working in high stress environments like in corporate
Well,
or
some of them,
businesses or.
were single parents
Oh,
and
okay.
they didn't have support. Some of them had high
Yeah.
stress jobs. Like there
Mm.
were, it's all over the board.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
all over
yeah,
the board.
yeah.
Unfortunately, in a lot of those studies, the lower socioeconomic people were the ones that got, hit the most. Meaning
Mm.
if money was also a stress,
Yeah.
it's
It leads on
financial
to everything.
burden
Yeah.
is a big issue. And
Okay.
that's a real travesty in what's going on in the cancer world, is that you know low socioeconomic status is equivalent to a higher progression in disease and a higher onset of disease. And that's a travesty.
Mm.
We live in a first world society. That shouldn't be the case.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. When you mentioned about the linkage between the stress and cancer, it just really made me think, because as entrepreneurs, we're constantly on the move. We have to try and find ways to make money, and we're just working so many hours, and it can be extremely stressful. We tend to forget while we're doing things, and then it can link towards it's going to link towards health conditions as well. So that's a really important point there.
I
And
could probably teach a course to
oh,
all I could probably teach a course to all entrepreneurs
we
because I
need to
work with
hear
so many
this.
entrepreneurs. Oh God,
Yeah, we
I
need
could
to hear
teach a
this.
course and tell entrepreneurs, and I'd basically tell them, you need to be able to separate work and
Yeah,
leisure. And I mean separate it. And you need
yeah,
to be able to unplug, and you need to be able to, because we're running with that gas pedal down so often
yeah,
that
yeah,
we wake up on Saturday morning, and I don't know if you got it, but I used to get this pain in my chest, like this
yeah,
entrepreneurial type A, like just stress and anxiety.
yeah.
Like I got to do more, and I got to work more, and I got to
100%. And you're never
accomplish more.
happy, right? Like when you achieve
Never,
things, you're just never happy. You just got to do more and
never.
more. Yeah, yeah.
The hedonic treadmill. Have you ever heard that?
Hedonic treadmill. No, I haven't heard that. Well, sounds
It's
familiar,
my
but
favorite. It's my favorite term.
what is
So the
it?
hedonic treadmill means you reach a goal, right? And then you reach for a higher goal, and you reach that goal, and you reach for a higher goal, and you
It's never
keep on
enough.
going this treadmill, and you're never satisfied with the goal you have.
Mm,
So that's called the hedonic treadmill. And I
yeah.
really feel like a lot of our society is stuck on that treadmill.
Yeah, true, true. And that goes to another point, and you mentioned before about meditation as well. I think 8 weeks of meditation tends to affect something in your genes.
I'll tell
Yeah,
you that. Absolutely.
yeah.
So that was from my TED talk.
Mm,
So the Benson Henry Institute in Massachusetts, they're affiliated with Harvard
mm,
University. So they've done a lot of studies on mind-body connections. And so
yeah.
what they did is I think they brought 30 or 40 people together. They were novice meditators. And what they did is they checked their gene expression. And so what a gene
What's
expression
that? Yeah.
essentially means is what's on and what's off. So your genes can turn things on and turn things off. Like for instance, if you get cancer, you might have the cancer genes turned on, the tumor promoting genes, and then having the tumor suppressing genes turned off.
Okay.
So that's what an expression is. And so they took these people, they checked expressions in the beginning, and they took these people, novice meditators, through 8 weeks of meditation. And it wasn't hardcore meditation. It was like 15, 20 minutes a
15,
day.
20 minutes. Okay, yeah.
And what they found out is at the end of the 8 weeks, over 1,500 genes had changed their
Mm,
expression.
mm.
And so 800 of those genes had turned on towards the health side, meaning tumor suppression, anti-stress, anti-cortisol, and 600 to 700 genes turned off from the disease promoting or cancer promoting side.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is
I mean,
crazy. Yeah.
I meditate hours a day. I meditate 2 to 3
Hours,
hours.
2 to 3 hours. When do you do it? Like
Yeah.
morning, afternoon, or is there special
So
preference? What do you
I
think?
split it up. I do a long one in the morning and then I do one at night.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll do one midday if I have kind of the yearning to do it. Like if
Mm.
it's interesting in the old entrepreneurial, expression, like if we got stressed out, we usually went and got a coffee, right? Or we
Yeah, yeah.
or work.
I got my
So
coffee.
when the more stressed out that I am, the more I know I need meditation. So if I'm
Mm,
stressed, I stop everything and just take a step
amazing.
back.
That is amazing. And I think there was a technique you put your hand on your heart as well. I think about the freeze frame. That was a technique that. Yep.
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
freeze frame is a technique developed by the Heart Math Institute.
Mm,
So you guys should, who's ever listening, definitely check out Heart Math. Yeah, I have no
heart math.
affiliation with
Yep.
them.
Yep.
They're just really incredible.
Okay.
So heart coherence. So have you heard of the term heart rate variability?
No. No.
The heart rate variability is the distance, the amount of time between heartbeats. So say you have 80 beats per minute, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your heart is gonna beat at different intervals.
Mm.
So even though it's 80 beats per minute, it's gonna be 1 second, 0.5 seconds, 0.3 seconds, 1 second, 1.2 seconds. And so the least variation in that, the healthier the body's autonomic nervous system is. Meaning the more consistent the variation in time between heartbeats, the
Mm-hmm.
better.
Okay.
Honestly, I really believe that this is going to be in the future. It's going to be the best medical telltale sign of whether someone's healthy or whether someone's not. Meaning, a higher heart rate variability is a healthy person. A lower heart rate variability is a less healthy person. And the
Mm.
autonomic nervous system is the fight or flight sympathetic nervous system, and the rest and recovery parasympathetic nervous system.
Okay. Yeah.
So our sympathetic nervous system, it regulates everything in our body. It's what's going on behind the scenes, right?
Mm-mm.
And so we have a few trillion cells in our body, and we have a few million cells dying every second, and a few million cells being created every second. Like it's that, like our body is working that fast and that quick, and those cells are all communicating with each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so health, really to me is communication. It means good cell communication. And so what this technique, the freeze frame technique is essentially is when you get into a stressful situation, what you tend to do is you tend to relive it in your mind. You tend to think about it. You tend to bring it back up, and it creates those stress hormones in us. The stress hormones are the cortisol, the adrenaline, the dopamine sometimes. And so, think of something that stressed you out. Like, for instance, say you and your wife got into a fight, right? And it really bugged you, and you were walking into work and you were still holding on to that, because we hold
Yeah.
on to our stress.
We think about it and we relive
Exactly.
it. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So the best thing to do is put your hands in your heart like this and close your eyes and actually look at the moment that you were fighting, and then just freeze it, and just freeze the image. And you can actually use NLP techniques. You've heard of NLP,
Yeah,
Khoa?
NLP. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, you could actually use NLP techniques in this as well. Is when you freeze it, you could take the color out of it, you could make it smaller, you could push it off to the left. Tony Robbins talks a lot about this, a lot of freeze framing
Yep.
techniques using NLP.
Mm.
And so in that, and then in that case too, what you want to do is you want to start to breathe slower. So you actually want to slow down your breathing. I say cut it in half. Cut your breathing in half, right? And so you're cutting your breathing in half, and you're watching that image fade away. And it's funny. I even get relaxed just doing it my own.
Yeah, yeah.
And so what you do next is there's a bunch of different things you can do here. So you can actually create an image of the person or a situation that was happy and something you'd be grateful about. Meaning, think back on your honeymoon, or think back on the dinner you went with your wife.
Nice.
And then make that picture big in your mind. Give it color. Make sure you smile. Hold them in your heart. And so that's the real basis of the freeze frame technique. And then people can take it a step further. There's just breathing exercises that you do where you're just breathing into your heart. And so this is for people that don't meditate. This is something that's new to them probably, but breathing into your heart
it
means
does
that
something,
you're actually,
right?
you're actually breathing into, here, let me show you right here.
Yeah.
You're
Okay.
breathing into
Right
your
there,
sternum, right where your thymus gland is. And your
Okay.
thymus gland is, it controls your immune system, one of the main controls of your immune system. And so it's called an energy center or a chakra, right?
Yep.
And so you're breathing into this energy center slower. You literally want to slow down your breath, to half time. And you could do that for as long as you want. I guarantee you, if you do that for, 3 to 5 minutes, even 2 minutes, like everything slows down. You feel your autonomic nervous system literally level out. And there are people that this technique has, there are people that were suicidal, that were incredibly depressed, that had chronic illnesses, that literally just used this technique, that their body completely cured it of these issues.
I'm really keen to try this. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, so what we do when we get stressed out is this area. We squeeze in here.
True,
and what
true.
we're doing is we're preventing energy from moving up our body. And again, the freeze frame technique is to open this up, and to just open that energy up through your body. And again, so just to recap, if you're thinking of something stressed,
Yep.
put your hands in your heart, get the image in your mind, take the color out of it, make it black and white, make it small, push it off to the side, start breathing into your heart, bring in a vision of something that would make you happy, something, with that person, or, if you're stressed about work, something else. Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
And then just breathe into this heart, into here, for 3 to 5 minutes. You could even do this in the parking lot before you go into the office, if the office is causing you stress, or do it in your driveway.
I'm doing it every day, don't worry. Oh, wow.
So freeze frame is really great. And honestly, heart breathing is the most important thing. Just being able to feel your breath in here.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Of course.
Yeah, that's amazing. We tend to we forget that. We're always thinking with our heads, but not really thinking with our heart, really. And there's that correlation between, the heart, where it's affecting your entire body. And I've always been amazed on, if you take a microscope and look into the body, there's so many things interconnected, and you just don't see things, right? So yeah, it's just amazing on what you've explained there, and how you can affect the gene cells and everything. And
well, so the heart, so the heart is really amazing, and the fact that now they're coming out with science is telling scientists that the heart actually sometimes controls some of the brain function. And that is, I mean, if you think about that, we think the brain is the master organ, right?
Yeah, true.
But now we're understanding that the heart actually controls a lot of brain function. And let me give you an example. There's a lot of cool examples of people that get heart transplants. So there's,
Wow.
there's a woman who got a heart transplant. This is one of like a zillion stories. A woman who got a heart transplant and it saved her life. And she started craving French fries and gummy
No
bears
way.
and like all these different sugary foods. And as it turned out, the heart came from a 17-year-old boy who craved
Oh,
all these
no
foods.
way.
So
Whoa.
that was literally it was literally imprinted on the DNA in the heart. And
Yeah.
it actually told her brain that, hey, I'm this heart of the 17-year-old boy and I crave these things. I mean, isn't that wild?
That is crazy. Like, you would never think that. You just think that the heart is just an organ that just pumps blood through the body.
Yeah,
But
no, the heart has a brain. The heart has a brain. There's no doubt.
they say that
That
also
proved
the,
it.
I think there's another part of the digestive system, right? It's
Yeah, of course, the gut.
yeah,
Yeah, the
the gut.
microbiome.
Yeah. So, wow, that's yeah, okay, that's crazy. All right then. So, and you also, there was another point, really interesting insight that you said before, was cancer was also a gift. You feel like it was also a gift as well. Could you elaborate on that one there?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the, you know, the the entrepreneur in my view, because I was one of them. The entrepreneur is someone that didn't receive a lot of love when they were younger,
Mm-hmm.
and they're looking to fill a void. And they're looking to fill a void with something that is missing. They think something's missing in their life, right? Because I was that person. So I felt that.
That's really deep.
It's deep. It is deep. And a
Yeah,
lot of entrepreneurs will sit back
yeah.
and be like, oh man, that's
They got to go out there,
that's
achieve
true.
things because they didn't get love.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly. Khoa, you said it. Achievement for love. Achieve, right?
Mm,
And so what I realized is that I was living in someone else's world. I was living in someone else's kind of values. You know John DeMartini is?
John DeMartini. Who was
He's
he?
on our summit, but
Yeah,
he's a values expert. That guy is amazing. But
yeah.
basically
That's
what
right.
he
Yep.
says,
Mm,
yeah, basically what he says is if a human needs to live by their values, and when they live by their own values, their body responds to that. Meaning your body actually responds to you doing the thing that's the most fulfilling to you. And that's really incredible. And so,
your body responds to something that you feel attuned
yeah,
yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly,
I love that.
exactly. So you can actually tell the difference between doing something you value and doing something you don't value. The
Mm,
things that you don't value, you really have a hard time doing. You'll really kind of, you'll really kind of go up against the wall. But it's something that you truly do value. Like you doing this show, you probably
I
truly
love it.
value this. You
Yeah, I
probably
love it.
love this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And
This is my
so this is
passion
something.
project, so yeah, I don't do
Exactly.
it for the
It's
money or
something
anything. Yeah, yeah.
you value.
Mm,
Exactly. And so I had always valued giving back to people and contributing, but I really didn't have a good way of doing that. I was making apps and things that were,
mm,
in my eyes, not really serving that much value to people, right? They were serving a little value, but not much value. When this came along, I kind of knew instantaneously that this was my mission. I knew it was my purpose. I knew that, doing all these things was a part of my, was a part of my telos. Your telos is your highest calling. And so when cancer came along, yeah, sure, I took it hard. And yeah, sure, it was a really difficult word to hear, and it was really difficult to hear the prognosis. But as I went on, started talking to people, again, just for the passion play, I started talking to people and started learning. I started realizing, wow, I really enjoy doing this.
mm.
And, how do I turn this into a career? How do I turn this into helping people? And then it's like, well, geez, man, a lot of people have cancer and a lot of people know people who have cancer.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's a big opportunity there. And
Mm,
so that really became my gift. It just blossomed into this, kind of mission and purpose, I would call it. And the guy I was telling you about before, Stephen Cole, the doctor at UCLA, he said, Cort, he said, there's something really interesting about the stress biology of people. He goes, when people get diagnosed with the disease, the ones that have a strong mission and purpose that's bigger than them, meaning they take their focus off their body and themselves and they focus it on something else, those are the people that heal. And he says those are the people that heal leaps and bounds over the other ones. So he goes, having a strong mission and purpose that's bigger than you is really a big healing mechanism. It's also the way to keeping your body healthy and happy and harmonious.
So you need a vision or some sort of purpose that will pull you forward, right?
Something that's bigger than you. Something that's bigger than you.
Yeah.
Like, why do you do this show? What's your why for doing the
My
show?
thing is, I just love learning from people. I love learning from people, and I love hearing stories on how people rise, from the ashes. And I can grab those stories, and I can
The Phoenix.
The Phoenix, yeah, I love the idea of the Phoenix, and I was in those times when I was a lot of adversity, when I felt like giving up, and then it was a YouTube. I watched one YouTube, I heard one song. It was always this one thing that I heard, and it really just helped push me forward. And I just think that there's so many amazing stories like yourself that I know that someone's going to be listening and they're going through the same thing, and then it's like, oh wow, I'm going to try that, and then it's going to change their lives. So you never know who you're going to impact.
You have that's a strong mission and purpose. It's bigger than you. You just said it. Everything you're exuding is a strong mission and purpose bigger than you.
Yeah,
that's great, man.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah.
And by the way, for those of you that are listening, I don't want to make it seem like you need a big mission and purpose. You don't need to write a book. You don't need to do a video. You don't need to do a documentary. That doesn't. You could just want to be a better father, a better mother. You could maybe want to go back to school. You maybe want to change your career.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this, unattainable, mission and purpose.
I gotta say that I talk to a lot of people, and like for you don't seem to have an ego or anything. You speak directly from the heart. I can sense that your warmth and your love as well. There's no ego and stuff, but sometimes when you talk to people, they're so busy and everything, but you can see that. I think that you've reached another level through all that meditation and everything. You've probably gone through lots of the introspection as well. So what have you learned through the meditation, by the way? Like, is there...
I believe what you said is very true. I perhaps was
ego.
I perhaps was a little more arrogant in my younger ages.
Yeah.
With cancer, there's no filter anymore. There's no time for wearing this mask. Wearing the mask of the person you think you are. You got to be the person you are, right? And so what meditation has done is it's crumbled the. Can I give you a good
Just go
analogy?
For it. Yeah. So,
have you ever heard the story of the Golden Buddha?
No, I haven't heard the story of Golden Buddha.
So the Golden Buddha is one of my favorite stories. I saw this on a Joseph Campbell. Do you know who Joseph Campbell is?
No.
So Joseph Campbell was like a king of mysticism and mythology.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so he believed mythology was essentially giving us a metaphor to life, right? And so the Golden Buddha is a story that it's literally the story of I feel like my life, and I feel like it's a story of most people's lives. It's the hero's journey. And so these monks were praying to a Golden Buddha, and there was an army coming. It was coming up the hill, and they said, okay, we need to hide the Golden Buddha because the army's going to take it because it's made of gold. And so the monks covered it with clay, covered it with bushes and branches, and made it so it looked like it was a stone or a clay Buddha, right? And so the army came. Unfortunately, the army killed all the monks, and they noticed the Buddha statue, and they said, "Oh, it's just junk. We'll just leave it." And so, hundreds of years later, there's a monk at the foot of the Buddha statue, which was a stone at that point, stone and clay, and still covered. And as he was praying, one of the pieces came off the hand and revealed the golden hand. Okay. And he was like, oh my gosh, there's gold underneath here. And so he got all the monks together, the newer monks that were there, and he uncovered the statue to reveal the golden statue. Okay. And so what's this metaphor? So the metaphor is this: when we're younger, when we're a kid, we're gold. We're born as pure light, pure love, pure truth. We're golden.
Mm.
And then our parents come along and they tell us what to do and what not to do. There's
Society.
school that tells us what to do and what not to do. Then we start a job that we don't really want to do. And what happens? You accumulate these layers of clay on you. You accumulate these layers that are covering your true golden self, right?
Wow.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden something comes along, divorce, midlife crisis, cancer, where all of a sudden the clay falls off and you reveal the golden Buddha, but beneath everything.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what meditation has done to me. It's shedding these layers so I can reveal the golden Buddha that I am.
That is incredible,
story, right?
man. I love that, man. I love that.
Everyone should use that analogy in their life. I mean, I've seen so many people
transform.
transform.
Oh, that is crazy. Oh, and you've got a webinar coming up, right? And you'll be sharing these. You're organizing this webinar. Will you be speaking there, or
It's a summit. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, great, fantastic.
It's a 10-day summit, so it's over
summit?
10 days. Yeah.
It's in when is it? On the 2nd?
May 25th through June 3rd. Yep. June 3rd. And the website is One Habit Summit. That's
Habit Summit
with the number one Habit Summit.
And you just came up with the idea just recently. What
it was from the book. It was from the book.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, the book came out and it's called One Habit to Beat Cancer, and we decided to do a summit on it. And Khoa, because COVID was going on, all these speakers were available to talk. Hal Elrod, John DeMartini, Brian Tracy, like John Asseroff, like craziness.
Yeah. I heard the podcast with you and Hal Elrod. That was really good.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. That was fantastic, that one. Yeah. Okay. So what if you're, let's say that you go into a time machine and you go back and talk to your younger self, what would you say?
Wow. That is, man. You know, it's interesting. I think about that often because I feel like the Golden Buddha story I told you is the story I'd tell him.
Yeah.
I feel like, so here's the thing,
Don't hold yourself back, right?
Well, but here's the thing. I feel like I had to go through what I went through to get to where I am. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Meaning there was a lot of suffering along the way, but I got to the place where I feel like I needed to be. And I think what I would tell you said 18-year-old?
18 or just a younger self. So yeah.
Well, I think what I would tell my younger self is the hero's journey and the golden Buddha story. And the hero's journey is the story of the golden Buddha. It's essentially, you're starting out, at the bottom, and you have these peaks and valleys and peaks and valleys. And then the peak where you really get to the peak is utopia. And I would just tell that boy, him to expect peaks and valleys and to never give up, whether you're in a valley or in a peak. And so here's the thing. What I also would tell him is that the valleys, the low points, right after you hit that low point is when you learn the biggest lessons. And so I think that I wouldn't tell him, I don't think I'd tell him the future. I think I'd just tell him, hey, listen, you're going to have a lot of ups and downs and you're going to suffer a bit, but you can take it. You can handle it. You can get past this.
I love that. Fantastic. All right. So I know you got another meeting coming up, so I'll wrap this up. So how can people get in contact with you, by the way?
I think the easiest is by Facebook at Cort Davies, CortDavies.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
And again, if you want to check out the summit coming up, it's onehabitsummit.com.
Yep.
And it's going to be, there's over 35 amazing speakers on there over 10 days. And by the way, even if you don't have cancer, people should watch this because it's so freaking inspiring to hear these people's stories of adversity. I should have every entrepreneur watch this because if they think they have it hard, watch what these people went through.
Yeah, definitely. I've already shared it with my social media networks, and
awesome.
I'm going to share this interview with everyone. And you've got such an amazing story to share with the world, and with your stories that you can really impact people that's gone through these rough times. And I really appreciate you and what you're doing. So thank you very much.
I appreciate you, man. Seriously.
Thank you. No worries, man. Cool.
Let me know if I could ever do anything for you.
Thank you very much.